Hey, welcome back, government class. It is Monday, November 23rd, 2020. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Great news is we have a very short week ahead of us. That is one of the things on our agenda today. Let's just get right to it. We got a couple school announcements for you. Number one, no school Thursday and Friday. Give thanks to us for canceling school. Just kidding. It is Thanksgiving, so you have those 2 days off. You only have school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I may have already told you guys about this. I don't know. So many classes, so many videos. Who knows? But at least now I know that you know. No school on Thursday or Friday. Make sure you do not come. That means we only have class today and Wednesday. Guess what? Wednesday is going to be the last day of the week, so you know what you're getting. Weekly review quiz, baby. That's right. All right, moving on. Second announcement. Still some report cards here at the school. Make sure you come by and get your report cards if you have not, or have your parents come by and get your report card, or your guardian. Have somebody come by and get your report card so you guys can see how you're doing, all right? Today on the agenda, very easy, and that's some good news, and that's something that's going to continue on, all right? If I could give you a little forecast here for government, instead of the temperature, what I'm going to tell you is the amount of work we're going to be having to do, not too much. You guys have done a great job this year. We've had a handful of 25 and 30-minute classes. For the next few classes, for the foreseeable future, you'll have some pretty short videos to watch. So there's some good news for you. Today's video, we're going to start with a 5-minute review, as always. We're going to talk about something, again, related to the Constitution. We're going to talk about the different clauses in the Constitution, some very important phrases and words. And then I'm going to give you your assignment and an attendance question. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and hit up that 5-minute review. All right, guys, for your 5-minute review, I wanted to do something a little bit different today and just specifically go over our assignment last class. These principles are very important parts of our Constitution and very important parts of our government, so I figured let's spend all 5 minutes on these 6 bad boys. So number 1, popular sovereignty. The easy definition for you guys to remember this, very simple. People have the power. Very simple. An example of this is very easy as well. How do people have the power? Well, the people can vote. They get to choose their leaders. They may not make the laws. They may not vote on the laws. They may not be the president who helps execute the laws, but they vote for all of those people, so they have the power. Separation of power, very simple as well. Our definition is going to be power being distributed or separated equally amongst 3 different branches. And our example for that is also very easy. We have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch, and the judicial branch. That's your example of separation of powers. Those 3 branches right here, that's the example of it. Now, judicial review, very simple as well. That is the power of courts to declare laws and orders / acts unconstitutional. The judges in these courts can look at something that a president does or that the Congress does and say, nope, you can't do that. And that is judicial review. They just declare it unconstitutional, and it is basically null and void. An example of this has happened actually quite a bit in the past few years. Judges have declared that President Trump has not had constitutional executive orders. So any example really you can find, but basically a judge declaring President Trump's executive orders unconstitutional. And that means to go against the Constitution, meaning it's basically not fair and it's not how we do government in America. Federalism is also a very easy one. This is dividing power between national government and state governments. Go ahead, fix this guy. And obviously an example of this is the United States Senate and the Arizona, we'll say state Senate. You could say the President of the United States as well, and then the Governor of Arizona. In fact, let's put that down there. President of USA and AZ Governor. Because that's an example of federalism. The governor is in charge of Arizona, but the president is in charge of the United States. Let's go up here to limited government. Limited government basically means that the government is not all-powerful. They have limits on what they can do. An example of this, there are so many, but some of you found this, the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights specifically declares separate things that the government cannot do and that people are allowed to do. So this is a very specific example of limited government. And finally, checks and balances. And I told you we'd be spending a little bit more time on this one later on in the year because this is such an important one. If I can type in here, there we go. The definition is each branch of government having some control over the others. Now there are a lot of checks and balances, so you could have given me a bunch of different examples. But when Congress makes a law, if they pass a law, it still has to go to the president's desk for him to sign it into law. So if he doesn't like that law, he can give what's called a presidential veto. And that basically strikes down the law and it is dead. That law no longer exists. Another example is judicial review, which we just talked about right over here. Judicial review, the Congress can make a law or the president can make an executive order and they can declare that unconstitutional. So they have power over both branches. The president can veto what the Congress does and he has power over the legislative branch. So these are all examples of checks and balances, and there are plenty more that we'll talk about probably in a week or so. I hope this helps. Weird 5-minute review today, but like I said, these are very important topics. So there you go. Okay, guys, fantastic job on your 5-minute review. Moving on to today's lesson. I said we're going to be talking about specific clauses of the Constitution. Now, what is a clause? Well, in the English sense, you've probably heard of it, maybe even in Miss Faust's class or in Dr. White's class, as a part of a sentence. It's a clause. It has a verb in it, so it's kind of a part or a portion of a sentence. The same is true in government, although when we're talking about clauses of the Constitution, we're talking about some very specific clauses that are important and when separated from the rest of the Constitution, kind of allow for themselves to be interpreted as a very specific rule or a very specific guideline. That's all to say that there's about 6 that we're going to talk about that are part of the Constitution, written throughout in different articles and or amendments that when you take them out of the Constitution, you can specifically point to these clauses as reasons why you have certain freedoms or why a rule is the way that it is. There are 6 that we're going to talk about, like I said, and what you guys are going to do is actually a little bit of research today. Now this morning I sent you a graphic organizer with these 6 clauses listed, as well as what I want you to do in regards to your research. But just in case you haven't checked your email yet, or maybe there was a problem with your email, I'm going to go over the first one with you. Right here we have our important clauses of the Constitution. The first one is called the Establishment Clause. And right underneath it, you'll see in quotes what it actually says in the Constitution, the exact words. And what they say is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Okay, easy enough. That's exactly what it says. Now we have A and B, and that's where you guys are going to have to do your research. For the A, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me where in the Constitution it says these words. Where exactly? If it's in an article, tell me which article, and if it's in a specific section of that article, tell me what section. For example, maybe it's in Article 1, Section 3. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Probably not this first one, but you get the drift. You're going to tell me the article and the section. It may not be in an article. One of these clauses may be in an amendment. Remember, we have 3 parts of the Constitution. We have the preamble, we have the 7 articles, and the 27 amendments. It might be in an amendment. In that case, you would just say, oh, it is in the 14th Amendment. Make sense? All right, if you have any questions, email me. I'll be here to help you. The next part, B, is probably the most important part. When you research, after you find out where it is, I want you to put it into your own words. What does this mean? So, I told you I would give you the first one. I'm a man of my word. If I looked up the Establishment Clause right now and I said, where is the Establishment Clause? Where does it say Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion? Well, some of you may already know. Your First Amendment guarantees you freedom of religion. So A, we're going to put the First Amendment. If you did not know that, it's okay. We're going to go over the amendments later on in this unit and talk about specific and important amendments like the First Amendment. Now, remember I said B, explain in your own words what this means. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Well, to me, I read that and I think, all right, Congress, the people who make laws, the Senate and the House, shall make no law, they can't make a law, respecting about an establishment of religion. I think what they're saying is the United States can't create a national religion, saying if you're an American, you have to be this religion. And that's what I'd write right here. I would say, we can use Congress because we know what Congress is. We'll just say Congress can't make a national religion. Now, if you need help with this part, if you're not understanding what these words mean, what they say, go ahead, keep researching and see if you can understand it a little bit better. Maybe type in, what does the Establishment Clause mean? Or what does the Free Exercise Clause mean? And that leads me on to the final 5 clauses you guys have here that you're going to have to do this for. You're going to have to look up the Free Exercise Clause. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with working out. Completely different exercise. The Full Faith and Credit Clause. The Supremacy Clause. Ooh, I think we already know what the Supremacy Clause is and where it's located. The Due Process Clause. And finally, the Equal Protection Clause. You're going to do the same thing that we did here for these other 5, all right? You can do it however you like. You can do it on your own piece of paper where you write all this out. You can use the graphic organizer that I sent you this morning, or if you want to type it all out and send me a picture, that's fine too. that is your assignment. All right, so we had our 5-minute review. We did our announcements. You know what clauses are. You're going to research some specific clauses. Today's assignment is to complete the important clauses handout. And we're going to go ahead and double that up as your attendance question, like we normally do here. So make sure you get that into me today so I can give you attendance credit and work credit. As always, if you have any questions, I'm here to help you out. Send me an email. I'll be at the school all day, right in front of the laptop. Holla at your boy. We will see you guys on Wednesday for the last day of the week and our weekly review quiz. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you later.